$1,000 tax you owe. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought back then, you go to jail. Like if you didn't pay your taxes to the IRS, you go to jail. So of course I go to my mom. Like, Mom, what are we gonna do? She said, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? You spent 150 grand. And by the way, I wasn't regenning, I wasn't putting new deals in, so I had no money in the business account. So my mom, being the amazing woman she is, when my dad died, he had a bit of life insurance, was able to pay off a house. So how I learned about home equity line of credit is we went down to Huntington Valley Bank and got a line of credit for my tax burden, 30 grand on the house, since we owed it free and clear. So that's not how you want to learn about line of credit and using it correctly. So that took me like obviously years to pay that back off. I'm gonna walk you through sort of my mistakes and the things that I did. So then I opened an appraisal company in 07, January 07, because my dad had an appraisal company too that we closed. And so I was doing both real estate and appraising. So if you guys remember that, like the shit hit the fan, I want to say July of 07. So I started a company and then it's doing well. And then boom, midway through the year, appraisal stop, everything goes to hell. The Great Recession sort of starting in play. So I had to keep the company going. So I had this other great idea. I was like, I'm just gonna get these credit cards because they give you $5,000 credit cards. So I would get everyone that would give me 5 grand. I would take the 5 grand and use it to keep the business going. And then I'd max it out and then I'd just stop paying. So I did this like 6 times. So now I have $30,000 in credit card debt. And it's a 29.9% interest rate. So you can imagine how fast the debt starts going. So it got so much, it got over 50 grand at one point. And when I met my wife, obviously I didn't tell this on the first date, like, oh, I got $50,000 in that. But as we got serious, like a year later, I like had to tell her, and she comes from a very conservative family. Like my dad was a my father-in-law was a Republican judge in the neighboring county for 25 years. So you can imagine, like very conservative, they don't like have debt, all this stuff. So she couldn't understand, like, she's like, what happens? I was like, well, you max out a credit card, you stop paying it. Then you get like harassing letters and debt collectors to call you. Then they just pass it from debt collector to the debt collector. She's like, you had 6 of these calling you all the time. She's like, you're like a psychopath. How can you even like get up and like conduct your life? And it was really crazy. So that's the business side of things. Now, personally, probably from my dad passing and a few other things, I was having these anxiety attacks. So during my 20s, I passed out like unconscious 20 times, probably 20 something plus times. I'll tell you 2 funny ones. It's funny now, it wasn't bad. But you guys ever see the YouTube videos of like the best men or the best women standing in a wedding? Right? And so that was me, my best friend's wedding, standing there and just go boom, right out, unconscious. That was one time. Another time's a real estate story, which you guys will appreciate. It was a Saturday morning, woman's husband died. It was my dad's client. So I go to this, it's a hillside rancher. I'm sure you guys have them here, where the back is like 2 stories and the front's 1 story. So I sign the listing appointment. I'm walking outside and I have my briefcase. I remember I'm in a seersucker suit. Don't ask why. Anyway, I feel it coming on. I feel this anxiety coming on, like my palms would start to sweat and start to get like, oh my God. And so luckily she closed the door and I literally passed out and I rolled down the front of this woman's whole hill. I was in a ravine. I wake up, my briefcase is halfway up the hill. Thank God no neighbors saw me. She shut the door. There was no ring cameras. I'd probably be on YouTube with 1 billion views of that. Grass stains all over I remember I threw the suit out. And so I was battling that. We'll talk a little bit about health, the back end of this, but I've been through it all, right? And making a lot of these business mistakes and then obviously not taking care of my health. I was still running around partying in my 20s and in the city and all this stuff. So I just want to get into, I think you guys have seen this before. If not, it's all good. This is Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, first book I ever read. And that was after college, so. Robert Kiyosaki now, who wrote these books and I really loved, he's sort of like a doomsday prepper now, so if you guys follow him online, he gets like way crazy, he's like, sell all your assets, buy silver. I'm like, dude, relax. So, but this is the cash flow quadrant, right? So you are 4 things in this world. You're an employee, you're self-employed, you're a business owner, or you're an investor. So 95% of the world are these 2 quadrants and 5% of the world in this quadrant, these 2 quadrants. When it comes to annual salary and net worth, it flip-flops. So it goes 9 and 95, right? And so what you guys do here, you're self-employed, right? And what we try to get a lot of our agents to do is become a business owner, right? This is the hurdle that you have to cross, right? You're self-employed, you have to move to a business owner, running it like a true business. And what does that actually look like? Well, first of all, it's like knowing your numbers, right? From the sheer aspect of just your business, you need to know how many contacts you have to make to get how many deals, right? That's the first part of the business that you need to understand. Then it gets into other things like profit and loss. I don't care if you're a beginning agent doing a few deals, you guys need to start understanding how to run it like a true business. Profit and loss, balance sheet, right? And really sort of understanding this. Now, we're in the state of Pennsylvania. I don't know if you guys do this here, but many of our agents, out of our 700 agents, probably 200 of them have qualified associations. So all their commissions go into an LLC, right? And the reason why you do that is because you pay yourself a reasonable salary out of your LLC. And then when you take distributions, which is literally moving it from your business account to your personal account, you save 15% on self-employment. So I use that as a recruiting tactic all the time. See, like Berkshire in my area, I don't know if it does here, but Berkshire does not allow for people to be paid into an LLC. So we've ran through Berkshire so much because, they're top people. I'm like, you can't avoid the self-employment tax. You're like, for a recruiting side of it, I'm like, you're spending like an extra $30,000, $50,000 a year, depending on their production, because you can't be paid into an LLC, right? So this is part of it. So like, I have a sales team. We still do like $20 million a year in sales. And even when I have new agents come in, before they do a deal, I put in an LLC. And it's $1,500 to get their LLC started, get it approved with the real estate board in Pennsylvania. But we're very lucky in the state of Pennsylvania. Some of my offices border New Jersey. In New Jersey, you're not allowed to be paid into an LLC yet. So they can't make as much money in a way from a tax shelter from that perspective. So that's something we could talk about later. Brittany can tell you some of these people that do this. It's really the threshold. If you do over 70, our account says over 70,000 in GCI, you're probably a good candidate to start putting in an LLC. But when you put it in an LLC, your commissions, when they're paid into the LLC, you start running it like a true business, right? So you have a P&L, you understand, expenses, right? A lot of our, work that we do is just financial literacy with a lot of our people and getting them to understand the simple concepts of, okay, this is how much you make. This is what your expenses are. This is what your profit is, right? There's a great quote. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. So it's just so true, right? If you really think about it, our industry has been hijacked by like production. And by the way, like 5 years ago, I think in 2019, Gary Keller stopped bringing people on stage until it was reviewed by their accounting department. Because I personally have friends who were doing massive businesses. I'm talking 150, 200 million in production and making no money. And we're on the verge of bankruptcy for like a bad month or two, right? My buddy who was doing about 175 million, 3 agents on the team were making more than he was as the ring. Because he paid the 6 assistants were all paid by him. They had great splits. They were with him for years. So he had all the stress and all the burden. Now he ended up going bankrupt, of course, because of that setup, right? And now he's fine now. Everyone, learns and goes through their cycles here. So this is where you want to go. I'm going to tell you the cheat code of this whole thing, guys, is you make a profitable business, right, that you gain profit from, and you deploy that money into investments. And most of those investments are appreciating assets that cash flow. In our world, the easiest way to do that is through real estate. So you sell real estate, it's profitable, it's leveraged, it's a really good business. You take the excess money and you buy real estate with it. That's the easiest way. Now, like a lot of our people, we get more into even my personal stuff. We have a real estate holdings and portfolio, but I'm in a lot of alternative investments now. I get offers to buy into different startups and all types of things of that nature. So that is the cheat code. That's just what it is. It's that simple. Profitable business, you deploy that money into investments, and that's how you get financial freedom. You hear that term, right? Financial freedom is enough money passively every month that covers your monthly expenses. That's what financial freedom is. That's FU1. when people say I have FE money, that means they don't have to do anything because they have enough coming in passive appreciating assets that, you know, covers all their bills. So I've been financially free at times in my life, but as your life scales and as you do things and as you build houses or whatever you're gonna do, sometimes you come in and out of, you know, financial freedom. But this is what you guys have to look at. And I just always love this diagram. And again, 95% of the annual income and net worth of individuals is in these two quadrants. You guys have questions about anything here? Robert Kiyosaki, go ahead.
With the LLC,
Yeah.
do you have restrictions on what you can buy with that money out of that LLC then?
So, great question. You can buy, what if you buy things in it, like what, a car?
No,
Or
investment-
assets.
Yeah, investment property.
Yeah,
like,
you can do that, like
money.
that will be a conversation with your accountant and financial advisor.
Okay,
Sometimes they want you to take it separately and move it into a
Yeah.
different LLC and acquire it.
that's what I was really, how many LLCs do you end up with, like, your,
Then that's another great question. I have clients, I think it's crazy, that
Yeah.
own like 45 units and have 45 LLCs. There's multiple reasons why I don't like that. When I owned my residential portfolio, it was just me and my wife's name. Because I like to borrow from it, so it's a lot easier to borrow personally.
and your commission checks are going into that?
No, that was personal, that was personal, but yes,
Okay.
now that I own some bigger commercial stuff, that LLC owns my equity in those. So it's a holding company, pretty much is the way you look at it, and the holding companies where all your revenue comes in, it can own a bunch of
Okay,
whatever you want in there, and that's more of a conversation with your accountant and financial advisor of the best way to sort of set those things up. So, yeah,
If we can just go back a minute, I'm
Yeah.
just getting a text question.
Sure.
Why would a brokerage not let someone be paid into an LLC?
yeah, without it, I've asked that to Berkshire for years, you guys are idiots, you're losing people.
Okay.
Because of this,
Okay,
but it's probably their legal department that doesn't like it, and you gotta think, it's a huge corporate entity, and they probably make a decision, and it just goes to the whole country, I mean, because again, certain states you can't even do it. Right, so, yeah, I never really understood that too, and look, we preach, you know, entrepreneurship and running your own business, how do you do that if everything's coming into your
Yeah.
personal name?
Yeah.
Because I mean, Berkshire, I'm not picking on them, but there's a bunch of them, I just say, like, you're an agent employee.
right.
That's what I call them over there. I was like, you have no, you have no opportunity. You're not running businesses. I mean, so many of our agents have verticals within their business, you know, whether it's management companies, all these different things that can come out of the, you know, your real estate sales practice.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's pretty much, you know, again, what it looks like, guys, and it's, you have to get to this point, you know, so once you're here and you're operating, this is where you can get to, and this is where sort of all the magic happens. I had an agent literally yesterday, one of our great agents, and I did a net worth class by the mastermind last Wednesday, so it got people thinking. Because most people just don't track it, right? And we have a very simple spreadsheet that tracks your net worth. And she's always like gobbled up these like properties in Jersey and like not some nice areas. And her and her husband have just like got them. She's like 13, 14 doors now. So she had no clue. And she comes in yesterday and she goes, "You're not gonna believe this." She goes, "Not only am I a millionaire, I'm a multi-millionaire." Her net worth is $2.1 million. And she had this like swagger about her. She has two little girls. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm like a bad bitch now." I'm like, I'm better listen up, shit. But it's like a pride of, you know, understanding that some people just don't monitor. Like, I don't check my net worth every single day. I probably do it twice a year. And when you're buying stuff and you're trying to get approved for commercial lending or certain things, they ask for your updated net worth statement. But that's something too, that is just another great exercise. I don't care where you're at. I'll tell you this. You guys know my history and what I went through. When I got to net worth zero, still to this day, I was more proud of that than becoming a net worth millionaire or a net worth multimillionaire. It's crazy to think about, but like that net worth zero, I was like, when it got out of the red into the black and it was just a zero, I was like, oh my God, like I made it, you know, like because I was in debt and, you know, going through all this for over a decade. So it is something that you guys should look at. You know, markets fluctuate, and if you guys have stock holdings, like you don't want to be too crazy with it because, you know, the market's on fire now. The stock market is, but then it'll calm down. So people go crazy with that. So you just have to, you know, like I said, it's not bad to look at it, you know, once in a while, right?
I will do a quick plug, your leadership is part of your business planning worksheet that works with housing and So when you're ready to have that conversation, we try to get you going in your sales business
Yeah.
first, but we do have that for you. So if you want that template, just reach out to us.
Yeah, it's a great activity, tell me.
Really quick, as a team leader, what I've noticed is it takes a huge mindset shift
Yeah,
to go from the self-employed
Yeah.
box or that like independent contractor.
Yep.
Agent employee mindset to business owner.
yes.
Do you mind sharing, and maybe I'm asking too early, but
Yeah.
how did you overcome that mindset?
So like literally the setup of the LLC, that's the first step, because you're like, no, I'm an actual LLC, I'm a business owner. Like, I'm not just running this, it's like these little things, it's like you stack wins, right? So it's like you set up the LLC first, so you're like, again, the kid that I did it for now, he does probably half of our production on our team, about 10 million. And when he was 19, I set it up, he's like, just from back when I joined you, it was a mindset shift of like, no, I'm running a business, even at 19, and he even has like the swagger and the confidence of it too, right? So that's the first step, is like, okay, this is a real business, like I have to pay for this, it's gonna cost me money. The second thing is getting, either you do it, I personally did it when I was like getting all my stuff together, running the profit and loss, and just reconciling it once a week, right? So that makes you feel like a business, you're a real business, you're saying, okay, here's my office bill, okay, that's what that went for, this was a marketing expense, so you can feel every expense coming out. Just write that, like, if you do that, you're ahead of like 95% of all realtors in the world, seriously. And it really, you can start to feel it, like, wow, this is real business, and that like permeates through your clients and how you operate. I'm just telling you, it does. You're running a true business, and not just willy-nilly, like, oh, weekend warrior, yeah, I come out here and sell houses and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, I run a real business. And so I think that's a great question. I think that's how that starts, and then it just grows from there, right? Now it's like our top agents, I have them send me the P&L every single month. So our teams that are doing like over 50 million, like they're big expenses. Like you guys, like you're running a $50 million team, you have 20, 30, $40,000 a month in expenses, some of these people. So it's no joke. So at, usually the first week, I have their director of ops or their assistants send me the profit and loss so we can review it and see. And then what do you think happens when they don't? And I'm like, oh, well, what do you guys do? Spend too much money this month, or something happened, and you don't want to show it to me. You're being like a little baby. And that's fine, right? But so it's sort of these things, and then again, it's just you evolve. It starts there, and then it turns into more of these things. And again, I'm telling you, even the client that you're serving will start to feel it when you're running a business, especially, we don't have to get in this, but like you're talking commissions, right? We're always negotiating and going over commissions. I'm like, I run a business. This is what I charge. Do you argue with your dentist when you go in there with your stupid root canal? You argue with your attorney? Like, no, there's no haggling, right? This is our value proposition. This is what we're worth. And that's why we get 6% still in the majority of our business. And now with the way the market is and where it went the last 5 years, we can do less business at higher commission. I want to operate in that world, not cutting my commission down and a race to the bottom. And a lot of our business is referral business in. And so, we're pretty, but again, that comes with your confidence around running it like a real business. I'll tell you a crazy story. Like 2 years ago, we signed a guy up for $1.5 million listing at 6%. We ended up selling it, right? This guy was an investor. And 2 days before closing, he sees that it's 6%. Him and his wife signed off. I was with both of them. They signed it, $1.5 million. We sell it for $1.5 million. Everything should be good. 2 days before Alta, what's this 6%? Like, what do you mean, what's the 6%? He's like, I've sold 300 homes, I've invested all over, I've never paid 6%. And I was like, well, this is what we talked about. And I wasn't letting it go. Sometimes you're like, all right, it's 2 days before closing, whatever it is. And I literally went to my P&L and showed him what it costs to operate and run my sales team. And it actually, I got it to 5.5. So after all that fighting, and it was like ridiculous, like 48 hours, and I knew we would never do business with them again. But like, that's how, like, the pride of ownership of running it like a business. And it is the mindset. That is the breakthrough. This wall is the absolute breakthrough that opens up to this. And then more importantly, this, because then you have targeted, like, whatever the number is. Okay, I want to make $50,000 net after the end of the year for my team. then you can allocate it into this, right? So then you're like, okay, I'm gonna put 25 away into this. Or that, I'm gonna start my kid's college fund, whatever it may be. But if you don't have any of this, you're just like, you have no North Star. You're just like a rudderless ship going around. By the way, I did it for a decade. So I know what that's like. There's no goals in place. You have nothing set up. You have no guardrails. You have no automated withdrawals. I'm a huge fan of that, like for my investing stuff. So at the beginning of the month, everything just comes out. Like people say this too about entrepreneurship. It's sort of like the dirty little hidden secret. But a lot of my friends who make money and are wealthy, like we don't have cash. Like everyone thinks we have this like huge cash, like $1 million, like petting it. It's money's always in play, so it comes in and it's gone. Because this is all the systems that we have in place, right? It's either paying off debt service or it's into an investment account or whatever. So when you do all this, again, it becomes all systematized. You're not thinking about it, right? They have the buckets too, which is a huge thing. So money comes in, 30% goes into your tax bucket, right? So in your bank accounts, people have this. Like you guys heard my IRS nightmare story. You guys right away. So you get 10 grand in, 3,000 goes into your tax account, 3,000 goes into operating, you know what I mean? And you break that all down right from the beginning, as soon as it comes into the account. I mean, I have agents like are in Newtown because it's a high-end luxury. Like I just know, I mean, it's like a goddamn car show, you know, and I know how expensive cars are now and what their payments are. And I'm like, you shouldn't be making that payment when you're barely scraping to get by in your P&L, right? So it sort of holds you accountable to where you want to be and what your goals are. Because realtors, look, I'm one of them, you make 20 grand, oh, 20 grand, that's all mine. It's like, no, it's not. A third of that's the government's. And, you know, a third of that should be going into your savings or putting back into your business. A portion of that should be looking out for retirement and things like that, or to buy a piece of real estate. Right, so without any of this, you just have no clue, and I operate like that, again, for well over a decade, till I got to this company. I say I got like a PhD from the Keller Williams. And a quick shout out too, like your leadership group, I'm telling you, I think the top leaders, you know, Brittany, Matt, the leadership crew here, I put up against anyone in KW and anyone in the country, like brand agnostic, over. I just totally feel that way. I don't know if you feel that way. But I do, because I'm around other people in other organizations, you know, whether it may be real estate, whatever. And we are so fortunate, and you guys are lucky to have leaders like you do here, because not all Keller Williams are created equal. I'm just telling you that. So like lean on these people that you have here that will help, because I speak in multiple different regions and I do this and I'll see, you know, there's a lot of absentee ownership or people that aren't pouring in trying to change people's lives. So understand that, really use the leadership to, you know, so anyway.
We have, can I ask one more
Yes,
question?
yeah, that's nice you want.
We have an LLC question from the Zoom room.
Yeah,
Would you say you should only set up an LLC if your GCI is 70,000, or should you do it as soon as possible, no matter what you're making?
my accountant says you sort of lose a little money just from the cost of setting it up and the maintenance of it per year if you're not over that threshold. I'm a huge fan of setting it up and then you're trying to achieve that goal, right? So like I said, I set it up for the 19-year-old, and then literally within a few years he was doing well over 100,000 GCI. So I'm a fan of doing it that way, right? And real quick, it's just like the vertical horizontal thing. I like to share it to you. You guys get up, right? And you go to work as a realtor, you spend 40 hours, 60 hours, whatever it may be. When we talked about that investing portion, guys, this can be as many as you want. I just talked about that girl Jess in my office. She has 13 doors. This can be like 100. There's Osborne, in our company. I can't think of his first name. He comes and speaks. He has 280 companies. Gary Keller has like 250. Right, so this can continue to go as far as you want. As far as you getting up and doing real estate and selling, your bandwidth, time, and energy is only going to be here, and that's why you need to start, putting away into some of these other investments, because this can go as far as you want. Right now I have 14 streams of income that come in. So, my sales team is one of those, and then it's 14 streams a month. So that's what you try to get out of like the quote unquote rat race, and over time it starts building out and starts growing. But this is what you look at. You only have so much time to do this. You need to start looking into some other investments. Yeah, sports.
strings of income?
Probably 10. Great question. And so I have a lot of those things I told you about, the market centers, title company, a lot of that for Bob. So I've sort of tried to get a little into some other little space. I have some startup stuff, some like fintech stuff that I'm into, and so that just sort of diversifies it a little. And then the traditional just stocks and oh, speaking of stocks, this is just total side note. You guys that have young kids, you know this green light. Have you heard of green light? So I recently got my 7 and 4-year-old on the green light app to just explain to them, you know, sort of money and how and the flow of cash and how things work. Because they would just keep their money in their wallet. And you know, I was like, listen, this isn't making me anything. So it's such a great app to like show how. So we've acquired my 7-year-old like bought a bunch of stock a few weeks ago. It just so happens the market's exploded. So he put his money in and now he sees it growing. And understand, because I think financial literacy is one of like the greatest failures, I would say, in along with many other things, but of the generation is just not understanding. Like all my cousins went to college and there was 2 of them. I talked to all 6 of them and I was like, guys, you have to understand the debt service that you're gonna come out of college with and how much money that is. And you think you're gonna get a job for X amount and you think you're gonna be able to chip away at this thing, but you're gonna have a burden of a massive, you know, college debt. And it was funny, the 2 that I didn't go, I sent 2 of my cousins down to Gary Keller's Quantum Leap. I paid for the entire thing. And now one is 30, he's already a net worth millionaire, never went to college, bought a landscaping company at 24 and then now has scaled it. The other one's doing really great too. And the ones who went to college, not saying college is bad, but they're just crippled by that debt and that burden. And by the way, do you think they're even in the field that they went to school for? No. Right? So none of them, literally not one of them. So it's like this movement we need to have around financial literacy and green light. If you guys look, even for your nieces and nephews, I did it for my nephew too. And I funded it. And I was like, here, this is his little debit card. And they get to put whatever picture they want on it. And it's buckets, right? They have a spending bucket, they have an investing bucket, they have a give bucket, you know, which is a big portion and part of our company is a great thing is trying to give and be philanthropic in a way. So anyway, that's a great thing. All right, let's talk about as we move through the year. So we got 4-1, 7-1, 10-1. You guys seen this before? No? All right, so 4-1, end of the first quarter. If you're not on track to reach your goal, it's like 86% of the time. If you don't reach your first quarter goal, you will not reach your goal. So first quarter is really, really important. Now in real estate, it's seasonal, right? So if you want to sell 10 homes, it can be 1 home in the first quarter and then 4, you know, second, third quarter, then 1 in the fourth quarter, whatever it is. So end of the first quarter is really important. 7-1 is if you're implementing a new system or a new hire, like an admin, they need to be in place by July. It'll take them 6 months to get up and running, right? And if it's a system, it's gonna take a little bit of time to really, you know, make that system efficient in a way, right? 10-1, which we're creeping up on right now, and all my agents hate when I say this because they know it's coming. That's the end of the year. So anything past October 1st is all for the new year. It's all for 2026. So, you know, all your lead gen, yeah, you may be able to get a deal in by the end of the year or whatever, that's great. But all focus and energy should be into the new year and what you guys are sort of doing. Like for us, we just met with my sales team yesterday and we put together a whole 36 touch to 50 touch. So if you guys know 36 touches, everyone in here should have like a pretty much automated beyond texting to, you know, the database. It should be like a pretty much automated way to touch, and it has to be 36. So if you have, the stats are, they move from year to year, but the 4 pieces of pertinent information, right? So you need address, name, email, and phone number. If you put them on a 36 touch, it's like a 7% return. So if you have 1,000 people in there and they're real people, not online, Zillow, BS, and all that. If you have real people in there, that should generate you 70 sides, 70 transactions a year. If you only have 100, that's seven out of there. But they have to be on a 36 touch, right? And leadership and, you know, can help with all of that. How are you guys with time blocking? with everything that you have going on. Time blocking will be the key to your success. I'm telling you. Yeah, so there's this great thing called the time box. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but a lot of top executives at Google, Tesla, Apple, you can get it on Amazon. It's like $10. It's called the time box, and it's an old school. Your 3 big rocks for the day, and then the other side is just the hours in which you're doing stuff, and then it has a brain dump section. And I got really good at using that because, you're pulled in so many different directions. As long as I was getting my 3 things done every single day, that's 15 done in a week. So I started doing 15 big rocks in a week. That's more I would do in a month. So now I will get more done in a month than I would for an entire year, if you think about that. So it's called the time box. Like I said, you can go on Amazon and find it, but I'm telling you, time blocking is the key to success. Because here's the deal: if you don't block your time and be proactive, you're just answering everyone else's bullshit. Straight up, especially in real estate and real estate sales. If you don't take the time and say, okay, I'm doing this for the next hour, someone else is going to interrupt and hijack your time to get what they want, whether it's an appraiser, a co-op. I mean, right now, I don't know how you guys feel, but there's been this year especially a lot of heightened emotions, and deals have been a lot tougher. I don't know if you guys feel that out in this market, but in my 22 years in the business, this has been the most heightened emotional type of time. And co-ops will take and kill your time. You guys know that even deals, right? So you have to set time. And guys, it starts with your morning routine. I'm telling you that. We'll go a little bit into health here. So first thing, I'll give you a bunch of major tips. I spend a lot of money and time on my physical, and it probably comes from my dad passing at a young age. And I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of this. And it starts the night before. So like, I'm sure you guys know this or maybe not. Like, this should not. If you guys have kids that are out driving, I understand that. Or like you have kids in college and you have to have the phone next to you. But like, I do not have the phone in my bedroom, especially plugged in next to you. Guys, I used to do this, and maybe some of you still do with no judgment. This until like you're so tired, 11 o'clock at night, pass out, put it right here, literally roll it over in the morning, and it's like this, right back into your phone. It's really crazy the way as like humans we operate now. And
There are people that don't operate like that?
what? Yes,
I
yes.
just thought that was normal.
Saw a video the other day. Wake up at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. and look at your phone to go on social media. Millions of people in your bedroom
Yes,
first thing.
yes. That's a great way to look at it.
Oh my God. You wouldn't. So why?
Yeah, and at night, and listen, there's like EMF, like, so I'm into all this stuff. I'm building a house right now. It's a bunker. It's only hardwired. It's pretty crazy. But like you sleep with a plugged in phone next to your head, like all night on your nightstand. You think about that. If you get an EMF reader, go on Amazon, get one of them too, walk around your house. You'll find like all this EMF radiation that sits next to your head all day. But the point of this whole thing is like, you have to be proactive in your day. So my ideal morning, and look, I have 2 young kids and they're still up and we're sleeping in different beds and that whole thing. I don't even know where I wake up half the time. But my ideal morning is like, I wake up peacefully and I'm awake before everyone, and I go down and do my sort of morning routines myself and do my workout and sauna and that whole thing. But when it comes to your business, you have to get the big things done all before noon. So I'm just telling you, if you don't, I've fought it. I fought this for years. You have to get those big rocks done, or in your lead generation. That's why, for Keller Williams for years, right? 9 to 11 is your lead generation time. Now, many of us don't do it. And that's a whole nother topic, but you have to get yourself taken care of and your big rocks taken care of before noon, and then do everything else, right? So, I mean, even me, like I stopped going to closings 10 years ago when I came to this company, because, I had a mentor that was like, why are you going to closings, especially on the seller side? When I was doing D packages before they were like cool. Now it's mandatory. My team, you have to close with D package, because we're not at probably 90% of the sell side closes. So they allow us to sign remotely and like, right, so you're buying back time. And just think about this, guys, a closing where you're getting paid and you already know it's closed business. We will spend a whole day at closing. I've done this experiment with all of our agents. If you have a closing at 10 o'clock, you wake up, you get all prettied up. You go, if it's buy side, you go through the walkthrough, you go to the closing at 10, it stretches out, right? Maybe you have lunch you get back in the office at 1 o'clock, you're not doing anything productive. You're not like, oh, let me get my next photo. No, you're like, yo, I'm awesome. I just for this, all this, like all this money I got. Let me get it to the MCA. Go get a drink. And so that's another thing, like it's all these little micro decisions and systems that you have to build in so you can protect your time. That's the only way you scale. Otherwise, you just hit this glass ceiling. I hit it for a decade. At Remax, I did 3 to 4 million in production every single year. I just hit the glass ceiling because that was what I did and I couldn't break through. And literally a TL from the Doylestown office sent me an email and she showed me my 5 years production. I don't even know how she did it back then. And like the glass ceiling, like, so it was like this. Like this is what I did 1 year, then maybe that 1 year, and she's like, "What's wrong with this picture?" That's literally why I made the call. I went to a family reunion. I met John McClintock at that family
Oh my
reunion.
God.
Is that nuts? And I thought it was pretty ballsy of her. And I was like, most people maybe wouldn't like that that type of email. But I was like, wow, that's exactly what I've been doing, right? So now I build in all these things to try to protect my time and then do what I'm supposed to do first. Guys, the top of the lead funnel, just look at this. Like, you are a lead generation business. That's what it is. Straight up, real estate's a byproduct of your lead generation business. Someone told me that years and years ago, and it always stuck with me. If you're not lead genning top of funnel, right, and leads and opportunities coming in here, you don't have a business. I have some of these, people in my office that like know every code and whatever, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. You're doing 3 deals a year. I don't care if you know every code and every zoning thing. There's people working circles around you because they're concentrating on lead flow into the top. So just think of that. You're in a lead generation business, not a real estate sales business. Lead generation, top of funnel, and then real estate sales is a byproduct of your lead generation business. Because without any leads, you're doing no business, right? So you guys have to get over that. Was a big hurdle and a breakthrough for me of like, okay, what am I doing on a daily basis to generate more leads and opportunities into my world? What questions? Anything? I know it's a lot. I go fast and I go through a lot of things.
Does this sound familiar?
Yeah, I'm like, can we have,
Someone else says it.
Yeah.
can we have Justin here every day?
Like, so I'm just hoping everybody's absorbing. I'm loving it.
So let me tell you something. I get so sick of my voice and doing masterminds. I do 2 in 2 different offices every week. And I'll say all this stuff. Someone comes in like this. It's a new voice. Everyone's like, yeah, oh my God, that person's a genius. I'm like, I've been telling you this for 5 years. Get a goddamn assistant. Now you're looking for an assistant because whoever came in. But it's so true. So it's just the way it works. Look, for those of you who have a spouse at home too, I'll be telling my wife something for a year. Oh, you should do this. You should take this supplement. All of a sudden, she's like, "This girl on Instagram said I need magnesium." I'm like, "No shit, it's in the thing. It's in the cabinet. We have 40,000 capsules on it." Right? Like, so it's just sort of the way it works. And back to that point, Britt, like, talk about like the leadership and like the type of consulting and coaching that we do in these organizations. That's another major thing for me. Is I'm coached in every facet of my life. So like I have a business coach, I have a health coach, I have a marriage coach, right? That was one thing my mom told me before I got married. She's like, everyone's gonna give you all this advice. She goes, hey, start with a marriage counselor, okay? You get married. And we're like, that's crazy. And my wife and I ended up doing it. It's probably one of the greatest decisions we ever made because you go through a million different things. You go through the just get married phase, 1 kid, 2 kid, all the things that go on. Yes, it's pretty crazy that, you think about it. I'm like, I don't know how people don't do it. But I was just lucky to do it every 2 weeks, every Friday, we do that and we meet and we go through and sometimes like, I'm like, she's like, are you gonna tell her anything that like I was doing? I'm like, no. As soon as I get home, like, you don't believe what she did. This is things of all business. And she does the same thing to me. I'm like, it's a great Friday. Everything seems to be going good. She's like, well, last Tuesday. But to that point, you guys need accountability partner. I always looked at this. This was a great mentor who told me this. So this is plus, equal, and minus. So at least once a month, you should be meeting with someone that you are like striving to be, let's say for real estate sales, someone that's doing double the amount of your production. You should meet with someone that is in and doing the same exact your production, and then you should be. We literally just talked about this before we came down, but it's like some of the operators, it'd be nice to talk to people more. Right, and the same struggles that you're going through, but you need accountability. If I was left to my own devices, it's, you know, I'm out there in the ether, it's the way my personality is. So I need to be reined in, and it's all different coaches or mentors in a way that are helping you through this. Like again, these ecosystems here, we're very fortunate because there's a lot of people looking to help you, but you should have some type of an accountability partner. And understand that James Clear's Atomic Habits is a top 5 book. Everyone here should read it. And it just talks about like building out, you know, your habits every day. I always say, show me your habits, I'll show you your future. So again, these are things you have to build out, but you need accountability. Again, very few people can just be left to their own devices and you like meet all their goals, and you know, that's what this is about. And so think about this as you guys are going into the fall where things slow down and the holidays, of what your life would look like, you know, of planning out a little bit more and maybe meeting with some more people. That's back to net worth, you know, your net worth is your net worth. So like, who are you talking to? You ever see the Jim Rohn? This is a great one, by the way. This is a great, I've done this exercise live in class a bunch, but Jim Rohn is the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? So if you guys did this, you don't have to do it now, but if you put the 5 people you spend the most time with, that's not your spouse or children, you will be the average of almost every category that you can think of. And I've done it, and we've done this. So net worth, you think of the 5 people you spend, weight, okay? You're the average weight of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That's not your spouse or children. You can do it. And you can go to all these different categories and find out. You can do marital, you know, or partner happiness, right? If you hang around with a bunch of guys who cheat on their wives, you know, you may go and want to cheat on your wife, right? It's just like that. So you can go into any category you can pretty much think of, and you will be the average of it. The weight and net worth is the one that always blows everyone's mind. So you can do that maybe for a team meeting one
Yeah, I
time.
like that.
And have everyone write it down. We have a paper to do it, and then you just see people go, oh my God. It's just so true. So it's important who you're spending your time and energy with. And as you guys know, as life gets busier, you have to be very purposeful of who you're spending your time and energy with. And I'm just telling you, that's, you know, you read that in a lot of these books and all these things, but it is nothing more true than that, right? So I'll tell you a story about net worth, another embarrassing story. So when I was in like my late 20s, 5 of us got together. So we had a financial advisor, a mortgage guy, I was the real estate guy, maybe an insurance guy, and we'd meet at this diner once a month. And I'm like, you know, a few meetings in, I love the guys, everything's going great. I'm like, everyone's broke like me, like not broke, like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. This is what I thought. And I'm like, cause I am, and I'm like trying to climb out of this. Anyway, we had to bring our net worth one time. And it was like mortifying. I think I was minus in the red, like $250,000. There was already a net worth millionaire in there. We're all the same age, like late 20s, around 30. And I was just like, wow. Okay. And then the guys were great. They were like, listen, let's help you get out of this. And they were part of the reason I started climbing out of that. Yeah, absolutely. Climbing out of the debt and you know, doing that. So it really matters who you're hanging out with and what you're doing. Leadership. Let's talk about leadership real quick. Leadership is, people talk about, well, I'm not a leader. First of all, you lead yourself, right? There's 3 things in leadership. 1, vision. So you guys have to have vision, whether it's, you know, Britt talked about the vision of the market center, or you guys with just your sales team, like what your vision is. Again, 2, getting back to accountability. I can't spell or
Okay.
yeah. I
Please
usually,
combine that.
yeah, right. And then sort of guys coming all together with what we talked about, the plus equal minus. New people, like new leaders, who are you bringing up in your role? Whose lives are you now changing? And I think this is really important when it comes to leadership and how you run and operate your life. These are three main things that all great leaders, do. So, we have a few minutes left. What other questions you have, guys? I want to be, and you can ask me anything, even stuff that we didn't talk about. Are you guys struggling with anything? You know, anything you guys would want? Yeah,
Well, I was going back to your building a business.
yeah,
The right way.
Yeah.
One thing that I learned pretty quickly coming here was you also wanna keep in mind, you're building a business, you don't want it, you like, it, you don't hate it.
that's a great point. Resentment.
Yeah,
Resentment. So like a lot of agents will get, so we have agents in our ecosystem that have really good businesses, $1 million plus in GCI. And they like hate it, Like we had our top guy 1 week this summer, came over to me on a Monday. And he goes, he's doing 55 million and he's running hardcore, right? He showed 36 homes on Saturday and Sunday while his whole family was at a short house down in Brigantine. And he's like, dude, I'm 47. Like, is this what I'm gonna do? Is this my life? Like 10 years from now, I'm gonna be 57. And my kids are gonna be there with like their spouses or my grandkids, or whatever. And this is gonna be my life. And that's a great point.
yeah, like the idea, Dan Martell's book, Buy Back Your Time, of
Yeah.
creating a energy audit.
Yeah,
What gives you energy and then what you can get rid of, and it's hard to give up, money sometimes, but again, your whole business is lead generating. So if your highest and best use of time
Yes.
isn't giving you energy, find something new that can get that done.
yeah. And that's a great point, and that's a great book. Because look, I keep my mind and body like a steel vault. The number one indicator of success is energy. That's Tony Robbins, that they've studied that forever. So you have to have like a steel vault of what you let into it. Like you said, rolling up right into like Facebook at 5 AM, that is an energy suck. And it'll drain you, right? So I look at that, and even for like what I eat, my diet, everyone thinks I'm crazy. Cause like they don't ever see me eat, and I like whatever, I have the whole thing that I do that we don't have to get into, but that's my energy. Right, so I have to protect that at all costs, to be a good dad, a good business owner, a good husband, right? So to your point, if you're doing stuff that is draining your energy, you have to sort of figure a way around that, or implement, or hire for, it, whatever the case is. Because that's a real struggle, because then money's not the problem. People are making plenty of money, but they're resenting the business and waking up every day and going and being in the business.
Well, I feel like a lot of times the glass ceiling is mental.
Yeah,
Like, I remember making a switch to showing agents,
yeah,
and I was like, oh, this sucks, I have to give somebody, a portion of my money. It's like, well, half of, would you rather have half of an apple or all of a grape? So for me, it was like the mental, once I knew that I had showing agents, I lead generated twice as far.
Oh, yeah,
Right
yeah.
then.
And now you'd never go back.
Yeah.
You can't, once you see the other side.
Yeah.
The same thing, that showing agents are amazing, and that's a great step forward, and so is a buyer's agent. So people are like, well, I'm gonna get 50% of my commission. But I was like, first of all, back to this point, when I remember right when I came to this company and I was scaling my business, I got like a $750,000 cash buyer in New Hope. Coming down from New York, we get these people from New York all the time that buy in our area, and I was like pissed. I was like, there's my mom. Like every weekend, they're gonna come down from New York. I'm gonna show them a bunch of homes. This is when, you had to show way more homes, and it was a different market, and again, that's not good for the client. Cause I'm pissed. I'm like walking in, I'm like, no, you're not like this sucks. Let's go. I'm trying to get back down to the shore, right? So you give that opportunity to someone else that is like frothing and so excited that they even have the opportunity to work with that
Yeah.
client. That's the person who should be working with the client. Same when it comes to TC, right? So we're building out a TC company right now. And so many of our agents, like, you don't want to be in there getting the reply to inspection back for the GFCI and whatever. That's not your highest and best use. Give it to someone who can handle it so you can go do your highest and best use. And that's a great sort of exercise too, guys, is you divide what you want to make $100,000 into 2,000 hours. That's pretty much the average, time you work in a given year. So whatever that number is, divide it by 2,000, and that gets your hourly wage. So that's what your hourly hour is worth. And if a TC is $20 an hour and your hourly is 80, then that's how you start making decisions around how to leverage things out and build. So, yeah. What were you had a question too? I saw your hand.
Yeah, I want to make sure I give the agents an opportunity, but as someone, who is, Brittany's focus is on our top 10% of agents. I'm working a lot with newer agents coming into the business, and a lot of times I'm hearing, I can't go do it because I don't know all the things.
Yeah.
As someone who's been in it,
Yeah.
what would you say to new agents coming in? Like, what's their first step? What do they need to do?
I always say like an easy first one, and I know some of them are dual career, but you gotta get into the office. All of our successful top people that like they get in and they get around people, they have these conversations, it produces an energy and a culture. Like, I'm just telling you, I know the ones that come in and they're like, oh, I don't know, I'm like, okay, you'll be out in 90 days. Like, I put a lot of money on them, like, as soon as they come in, some that are like excited about it and wanna come into the office, that's the easiest thing that you can do is just get in and be around people. And that's what I started doing. I came from a Remax that no one was ever in the office. I came to this like Keller Williams office. It was like a buzz. There was an energy. And then, like I said, it's tough with dual career stuff, but you got to make time to get in or get around people. That's the best thing that you can do for new agents. If you go and you're isolated, first of all, 1 in 100 agents making 5 years in the business. So I tell people that straight up, new agents, I'm like, all right, you're gonna be the percentage, you're gonna be the 1%. And, because people don't see the amount of attrition that these offices have. And I'm talking brand agnostic, just new agents coming in. I mean, half these people, or 70% come in, you never see them, and then they're on, and then they're off. Right? They get their license, they do all this, it's exciting, and then that's just the percentages. So you have to do something different than what everyone's doing. And if you're gonna stay at home and try to do that, it's just not a recipe for success. Just go join one of the cloud-based brokerages and just fall out of the business in 90 days. That's sort of what it is. So that's the first thing I always say to new agents. You've got to get in and get around people and listen to how people talk and get through tough such situations, how they lead gen, right? There's all these things that, you learn just by being in the office. It's tough if you're just sitting at home, like trying to understand this business. Anything else, guys? I want to be respectful of your time, another minute or two.
I know I'm big on mindset. Touched on it, but this business, it can make you
You say we can make you run negative?
negative. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there's
It's a
not-
beatdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a better phrase, like, there's just bad shit that happens all.
Yes, yes.
So what do you do to stay positive?
Yeah, because, oh, by the way, that's a straight up skill set. That is a skill set. I think Ed Milet's like he's all these people quote and they say it's their quote, so you never know who the hell said it originally. But you have to, one of the best character traits you can build is being positive in negative situations. And like it is, I know it sounds simple, but I'm like the forever optimist and I'm always trying to just say, okay, if this happened, it happened for a reason and I'll learn from it. Because believe me, I'm making mistakes every day too, and no one's perfect. So it's staying positive around it, even though it's negative. Like, oh, this deal fell through. Okay, great, 20 grand out the door was supposed to close in a week. But it happened for a reason, and maybe we learned something from it. And we just have to move on because this business will just feed you, negative stuff all day long. It just will. So that's what you have to, but I always say there's another great quote, like choose your heart. Like, what would you rather have, right? Like, there's the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. There's the pain of being wealthy, because a lot of things come with that, right? And then it's really hard being poor too. I've been both, right? I've been in really great shape mentally, physically, and I've been in really poor. Like, so choose your, what one do you want? It's hard being married, but it's hard being not married, right? And lonely, right? So there's, you have to really make a decision of what hard that you want to choose, because there's the other sides of all of these. But yeah, that just builds with reps over time of just trying to remain positive around stuff and just know it's a learning curve, and you're going to continue to have to battle through a lot of negative stuff and things that happen. And guys, that's just within the business. And then you look externally, like I don't watch the news. I know what's going on, and I got a lot of things in play. So I have to, know what's going on. But like the news, the 24-hour news cycle, like what went on last week, like you just get immersed in that. Like my in-laws, they watch Fox News all the time. And like, it's fine, but like all day in the shore house is Fox News. like, they're screaming and all this, and I'm like, it's just such a bad place to sort of live in, that's why I get back to like the steel vault of what I listen to, I'm intentional, I listen to a lot of books, I listen to some good podcasts, and I just try to keep, all that negative stuff out. Yeah, cause it comes all day here. All day. I'll get in this phone right now. If we had 5 minutes, I'd go through and like, I'll be like, oh, here's shit happened. Oh, that lawsuit, cool. This happened, this agent's unhappy. Okay, right? Like, that's what it is. So in these roles though, as whether it's just an individual agent, leadership, that's what it takes, right? And that's why you're not doing other things. So it's building out the skill sets. Anything else, guys?
Favorite book?
Favorite book, I don't know if anyone's heard of it, I've been championing this all year, Bill Perkins Dive at Zero. All right,
That
how, dude,
game changer.
for my whole life, how I thought about everything. So we'll give you the quick little synopsis, so Bill Perkins, look, you take it with a grain of salt, because he was a commodities trader, he's worth $100 million, right, so you go, all right, you dive at zero. But it talks about dividends, right, memory dividends during your life, and there's a utility to money. Right, and so basically, if the average person in the United States, if they get an inheritance, is at 60 years old. At 60 years old, like I'm telling you right now, at 60 years old, if I get $1 million in inheritance, it will move my life 0%. Right? It just, I'll put it in, an index fund or whatever. So there's times in your life, it talks about inheritance and giving money to people, but utility of money is like, what would he say? Like, is you 25 and like 45 here or something? When you're buying houses, putting kids through school, whatever you're doing, as you get older and you have millions and millions of dollars, if you're 70 years old, you may not want to take that trip and go walk around Italy or whatever. And as it continues to, your body's going to decay over time. And so it just talks about like spending the money while you're here, and your net worth should cap somewhere up here. And then this should be responsible. Right?
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that.
But it's also like a perspective book, because it goes into a lot about like, you can't get the same enjoyment out of a
Yes.
backpacking trip through Europe
Yep.
in your 40s as you did in your 20s.
Or like a
And
nightclub
that's
in
a-
Vegas, he called up, remember?
Yeah.
He's like, when you're single and you wanna go to Vegas, you're 25, 30, that is gonna be a totally different experience than when you're married with 2 little kids, you're like, oh, I don't wanna go near a nightclub.
I've been trying to. Really hard.
That's true, boys.
You should let him read that book, he might.
And there's I'll send you the podcast, is like a 50-minute, it's like sort of like a synopsis of the whole book. But I listened to a bunch of the podcasts, and then I read the book too, Die with Zero, and it just gives me total perspective around money and what it all looks like, and especially as you get older, like, what do you wanna die with, some huge nest egg and give the kids $20 million? They actually say inheritance, which I love in the book, should be given between 25 and 35.
Okay.
That's when they need it the most, right? And as long as they're responsible and not drug addict, whatever, spending the money somewhere else, that's the time where they need it, because you giving a kid $50,000 to put a down payment on their first home is way more worth it for them than you giving them $1 million at 60. The utility of money at that time in your life. It's
So I look at it, when I was in my 20s, I might have quit real estate.
yeah,
I was
right.
close, I was so close.
Right.
Because I just couldn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Me
use it
too.
then.
Yeah,
Well, and it's a perspective about life in general too,
Yeah.
because like. You almost, I think one of the big things is like 90% or something like that oversave.
Yeah.
And they oversave for retirement, and then they don't have anywhere to put it, which. It is perspective, because the guy's
Yeah.
worth so much money, but it gives you perspective on when to use it, when not to feel bad, like. I
Yeah.
started time blocking golf in my
yeah,
schedule, because I didn't want to build a business that I hated.
Yeah, right.
And I didn't want to be a slave to
yeah. It's
being a
great.
certain thing, so.
What was the name of that one again?
Die with Zero.
So grateful. It's just fun, because I read, but I haven't found anything
You'll love this.
the last month.
It's an easy read. You'll listen to it one day. I think it was an 8-hour book. I listened to it 2 times speed because I don't want to.
Really good on iPad.
Wish your brain
Like
can do
that?
that,
It's
yeah.
really on Audible.
So
Yeah.
good. I can't listen to anything now.
It's so.
I think it's like
It's like, hello, welcome to Die with Zero. Right? It's like, it's just, so now it's like two times speed. Yeah, so it's a great book. And literally a lot of my friends, I'm very lucky to have a core group of best friends. We're all self-made multimillionaires. And like we talk about all this stuff too, how to raise kids so they're not spoiled. When to give money, like these are like with great earnings comes great responsibility. Like people have trust set up, you have life insurances, like we could talk a whole class about that, like something I definitely push with my agents a lot because we see nightmare deals that come through our offices of people just dying intestate with no will and just leaving a heaping pile of shit for the, their kids or the spouse to then deal with. So like I have like, if I get hit by a bus, Google Doc of everything for my life, where everything is, literally life insurances, this is who you call first, this is how much we own of these companies. So it's just like a one pager with links to it that is like, okay, if this happens, there's a lot of things that we have. And you just have to have that responsibility. I went to Dubai and the Maldives for my wife and I 10th anniversary, and my father-in-law was watching, and he's a lawyer, thank God. And the night before we left, this was right when the attack happened on Israel, right? So I left a week after that attack, flying into the Middle East. So you're a little nervous. We were going to cancel the trip, but we were going to Dubai. It's very safe. One of my college roommates lives in Dubai, so he's like, dude, it's fine. Anyway, you're flying over to the Middle East and it's scary. And so my father-in-law comes to me the night before. He's like, dude, you don't have your kid. You don't have Keegan, my second kid, on the will. Like, and I'm pretty good with this. Like I have it all, but like, I just never thought of that. So God forbid something would have happened. There's trust in place and all this, but everything was just going. So what there was this, we didn't change that. So like, and I'm seeing this, like, I'll leave you this last story. We've had two this year. One where a guy in his 50s died, and his ex-wife was the beneficiary on the life insurance account. $3 million went to the ex. You think she's getting any of that? Right? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another thing was in that, a mother, so a guy got a corporate job, was with him for 30 years, paid in all the life insurance, same thing, died in his 50s, never changed the beneficiary to his wife, his current wife, who has kids. It went to the mom, who hates the wife. Another thing, multiple millions of dollars now goes to the mom, not to his wife. That's her grandkids. So now the wife has to go, hey, like, he's not here, can we pay off the house? And she's making the decisions now. And so that was twice this year, just not changing beneficiaries and life insurance. So you guys will see this as just in your business and as you do deals of people just not having their home life in order with the proper wills, life insurance, all of this stuff. My buddy used to say, he's actually divorced now, but years ago, he would go, I have $1 million life insurance if I die. He has 3 kids, by the way. She'll be with the pool boy, having this Playboy lifestyle. I'm like, if you die and give her $1 million, that makes 5% a year. She makes $50,000. You make $250,000 a year. She'll have to sell the house and they'll be in squalor. Like that's the way you look at life insurance, right? For every $1 million. So whatever you make, you have to sort of try to figure that out. And so,
But I think with a lot of, I'm part of a lot of investment groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People don't think about the nest egg per se.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I mean, everyone has a risk tolerance.
yeah.
And if you don't have your groundwork set up to be able to do, you're gonna miss out on so many really good opportunities.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Because with all this and doing it the right way, opportunities come. I decline. I probably sign an NDA every single week for investments that people want me 50,000 in here, start or whatever these different investments are. Now you get to a point where you're denying 49 out of 50 of them, and I don't even have time to evaluate it. Like I'm to the point, like if I miss the new Tesla startup, like it just is what it is. Like I don't have time to do it. I just have to be okay with that, because I know 99% of them fail and we only have so much money. So anyway, guys, I champion you guys for being here because look, this is what it's about, right? Being at this company, understanding like you got to take time out of your day to be in here to have high level conversations. So I appreciate it. I get energy from you guys and hope it was worth. And then Britt, if any of you guys have questions offline, you have my direct cell. And if you guys want to call about something, sometimes people don't want to say something in class or something they're going through. I'm happy to take the call and, walk through something. So.
Will you come back?
Yeah,
Will you
sure.
come back?
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever
Yeah.
you tell me.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
am I safe just on airplane mode with my phone charging next to me, or do I need to?
No,
unplug it?
no, I hear you saying, I do airplane mode and put it in another room.
I saw I had it on
It's
airplane mode
charged.
last 2 months and I've never slept better.
Yeah, do you have an Aura ring yet?
No.
Yeah, you have an Aura ring. This is an Aura ring, it tracks all your sleep, all your movements, your temperature, how you sleep, how much REM, how much deep sleep. So, and what I got this, I haven't drank in like, I don't know, it's over 2.5 years now. But I realized when I drank eating casually, how screwed up my sleep was. That's why I stopped drinking.
But
I was like-
what makes that different from this?
It's just like a
This is more accurate. And
Okay,
what's that, the Apple Watch?
yeah,
Alright, so we can get a whole health thing. That leaches like sort of microplastics and stuff, and so there's a class action against Apple for this.
oh, you're gonna freak me out.
Yeah.
You're gonna
tell you what, guys, I'm deep into all this, like,
iPod or AirPods.
oh, there's a horrible too. There's like 2 cell phones when you're talking.
Actually, it's funny, no, there's a whole comeback of wired headphones.
That's what I have.
Well,
I have wired headphones.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be meditating with my earbuds.
Yeah,
Apparently
but
not.
meditation is great. That's
Apparently
great
not.
for doing that, but no, with the earbuds, they're so bad. Everyone in my office comes in, I take them out, throw 'em.
Oh,
Like
my
if
word.
someone's walking with them, I'm like, dude, you're gonna have brain cancer. I get reverse osmosis in the offices. Like I'm down like a 10. But I'm on a million different supplements. I'm on testosterone, I go, yeah, it's a lot. People call me. Our agents want me to put together like a spreadsheet of just everything they should be on. And I'm like, I'm gonna get sued. This is what I use, and I think it's great, like electrolytes. Yeah, I make this whole morning cocktail thing. I'm like, it may not be good for you. I'm not putting that out there. You guys are gonna- Something's gonna happen.
Well,
and then-
Brittany's husband's a carnivore influencer, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
We get
yeah.
our, we get our protein.
Oh, yeah.
on his
Yeah.
You need a
Instagram.
gram of protein for every pound, right?
yeah.
My husband,
Yeah, it's great.
yeah, please.
Yeah.
Well, the health benefits of ketosis are pretty crazy too,
Yeah.
looking at that far.
And I think you just like the business with this, guys. I've evolved through different cycles of my health thing too,
Hmm.
right? So like I've tried different things. I'm doing a parasite cleanse. I start next Monday, a 4-month parasite cleanse. So my holistic dentist, trust me, you guys feel like us. I go to a holistic dentist, so they don't use anything like no chemicals. I don't believe in fluoride, none of that, vaccines, all of it. So anyway, not to get too political. Yeah. Yeah, there's holistic dentists that don't like put anything in, they don't use fluoride. It's all, it's pretty great. So anyway, she did this 4-month parasite cleanse and said it was insane. We all have parasites, some of them. And so this gets you, it's a 4-month, it's just pills you take every day. And you go through these different cycles, and she's like, what comes out of you in like month 3 is like, that like alien. Not to be disgusting, but. So that's the next thing I'm on, and yeah, so there's all these type of things, but I got, like, I've been on testosterone, I'm open about it, like, since I've been like 40, I'm 44. There's probably 30 agents, both men and women, in just my Newtown office that are all on testosterone. Yeah, cause it falls off, as we get older.
It's a fountain of youth.
It's found youth, yeah. That's one little thing. so-
Listen, I'm sorry, if you weren't in this training room today, like, you missed out. Like, if you weren't in here, you missed out.
Yeah, no, it's good, it's all good, positive stuff, yeah.
The testosterone starts kind of damage our body mass.
You gotta be on for life, yeah. I've researched it, and like, my endocrinologist is like, yeah. So like, I was at like 200, not feeling weird, but I was at 200 and now like operate between like 900 and 1,000, but yeah, you have to stay on.
This is like a TRT sort of.
Yeah, I shoot myself with blood cells. Sometimes they do these pellets, so they cut your butt and they put these little pellets in, and they dissolve over 6 months.
Oh.
Yeah, so I had them, and then it kept getting infected, so I had to do the needle stuff. Yeah, so it's a whole thing. You'll see, there's all these startup companies, you'll see them all around. I bet you have them even out here.
Yeah, we have game day.
Longevity, yeah, exactly. Longevity, you do all this stuff, you have peptides, testosterone, all types of stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, I swear.
yeah,
I've never felt.
yeah. Ah, it's the best. I think there's nothing better to spend time and money on
read the book out.
No, not LA.
That was a good.
I read a bunch of the longevity ones.
Talks about. You to go get your blood work done and not what the family doctor does.
No.
But they look at everything.
Yeah.
That's when they start to say, oh, vote here and vote here, that's why you need stuff.
Exactly. No, it's so important. I'm telling you that stuff, and I get my blood work done quarterly. And now I'm trying to get in with this concierge doctor in Newtown. I find it's for some reason, a lot of longevity people are foreign. Because there was like a bigger belief system in Europe, so like, that's where they were taught, not in conventional medicine here. So like, I'm trying to get in with this program where it's like a concierge guy, and you can just like follow them and text them, like, that's what I want. I wanna like send him an Instagram thing, and say, dude, should I be on peptides? PP 175, like, and like, he'd be like, no, you're fine, like, that's what I need in my life, cause I get all this stuff down, like.
Are you a KW Wellness Market Center? Have you joined KW Wellness?
Probably not.
You still need to do that. We did, you need
Yeah.
to do that.
We
Yeah.
do a lot of this like talk there, we're not, I don't know if we're officially in the wellness, but we
Yeah.
do a lot of stuff. We do yoga once a week and one of the
I love
I
that.
bring a sound, you guys ever do a sound bath? Google it. Okay, I guarantee there's someone, so I'll clear the training room out. And then I'll get like 30 people to lay down, I shut off all the lights and black out everything, and this woman does a sound bath. So it's with like these bowls.
Oh,
like,
it's a big bowl. that
Yes,
has
the huge bowls.
Oh, that's sick.
It's unbelievable. People are crying in there, and I like, yeah, cause it's like, it's really intense. Yeah.
Wait, the next time you're doing one, can you let us know?
What the hell is that?
You need a football.
Matt's gonna be like, what the hell you guys? Dude, salmon? Yeah, sorry, we're gonna do ayahuasca and do salmon. I'm gonna throw it up.
I've been doing it. Shell's gone,
Yeah.
Lauren Gardner's gone. But come on, like, you can fill the room.
There's no,
Like,
listen,
every-
What'd you say about ayahuasca?
What'd you say?
What'd you say about ayahuasca?
So she's trained my, I don't say my, but the girl who I've done sound baths with for a while. She'll come to my house and go, and but she's like, she can't do it in the United States, so she goes down to Peru. And does like ayahuasca retreats.
Right.
So ayahuasca is basically like hardcore, like it's natural, but it's like an acid trip, like you throw off. You like get all this bad
Like
stuff out.
peyotes.
Yeah, it's like peyote.
But there's somebody dying.
She guides you through the journey, yes. So she also does ketamine therapy. Like, I'm like, that's just drugs, I think. Like, it's special K. It's like when I was in college, people just did K. That's ketamine. That's what that was. Like, so. But yeah, you try to figure out this. Another thing, last thing I'll do this. But now my meetings now, like if you see how your guys is a circle parking lot,
Yes.
all my meetings are walking now. Like in the summer, I gotta be very careful because you went 90 degrees out, but this time of year in the spring, like when I'm meeting with people, I'm like, let's go. And we'll just do like 50 laps around, walk around the parking lot as we talk. And even have like a notepad.
Next Monday.
I'm on it.
Yeah,
Let's
it's just
do it,
so
man.
great being out there. I'm gonna do it in the winter, like I'm bundling up this winter. Because that's what keeps like the alerts keep going off of this when I'm working all day, cause I'm in back to back to back to backs. And I'm like, I gotta start mixing this up where I'm like walking outside. And I have that stupid thing under my desk. But I don't like that thing. I like being outside. Plus my kid's hand got clawed in it during Halloween last year, ripped his whole palm off. Oh,
My word.
yeah, I got stuck in that little stupid walking treadmill thing under my desk. So I'm like, let's think about it here.
So we're all taking creatine.
Creatine, alright, here's the morning cocktail. You need filtered water. With Baja Gold sea salt, pinch of it in there, right? There's 92 minerals you get in that. Creatine, women should definitely be, you guys should be on no less than 10 milligrams. Guys, how much you do?
Like 15.
Yeah, so everyone gets it up. You take 5, you stop
Well,
it.
anything over 10, studies show that it goes directly to your brain.
Yep.
Okay. What's that?
So that's why if you're ever sleep deprived, like if you guys travel and like it's a bad flight or like we're traveling for mega camp, you do like 20-25, it'll bring your full sleep deprived back up to like total normal. If you have a bad night of sleeping, you do like 25-30 milligrams creatine.
But
Yes.
that's so much water.
It does hold a little water weight. Yeah, you
I mean,
gotta
it's
get
like
there.
a Total.
different
It's
people
a
with
kickback.
facts.
It rebuilds your muscles, but then also a lot of it goes to your brain.
It's true,
But I've heard of people,
yeah.
all sorts of.
So then instead of, you guys know hydrogen water, there's the bottles that fill with hydrogen water, my kids broke them, so I didn't have a chance, we had them. Anyway, so now Gary Brecken came out with the hydrogen tabs, so I throw that in there with the creatine, with the sea salt, with electrolytes. In the morning, and then NAD plus. So,
So with the creatine,
yeah,
I've noticed with the 5 grams I've been taking,
Yeah.
it's basically like cut my gym recovery in half, like
Yeah.
the amount of time it takes. But you're saying over 10,
Oh.
it actually helps with brain.
yes,
activity?
yeah, it does.
Yeah, there's a huge study just came out that like anything over 10 gets absorbed, up to 10 gets absorbed in the muscle, over 10 gets absorbed, like gets filtered to the brain.
It's the most studied, researched. Like supplement in
Yeah.
the history of the world.
Yeah, I love it
Yeah.
at 5 milligrams, so I
Yeah.
got up at that.
Yeah, gas it up a little. 10, 15. Yeah, now they have the creatine gummies, you just gotta be careful, I get it, like, everything, you gotta like research these, cause there's $1 billion fraud creatine industry out there. Like, it's not even anything in,
Oh, I
like, you
hate
know,
that.
like chalk,
You're gonna legal so
Well,
bad.
it's
yeah,
Like vitamin.
that's why you gotta get, like, I'm on a full script, it's like, you know. You gotta make sure it's like, yeah, organic.
You do the True Greens?
So True Greens, I've never, or AG or True Greens? What,
AG1.
AG1? Now, I never was on them, but I heard like where they got that from is like synthetic. Instead of like from the actual like plant or like the vegetable, so I never got on them, but people say they love it.
I like the Jocko greens.
Oh, okay.
I don't notice a huge difference between that and AG1. AG1 was so
See, I
expensive.
love Jocko. I love his books and everything, so. Yeah, it's this whole like movement towards this way. People wanna look good, feel good. Like, yeah, I can't tell you, just in my market centers, how many people like stopped drinking. You know, some people were, you know, eating gummies and all, like, they're agents, they tell you everything. They're like, dude, I stopped drinking.
All the time, the stuff that.
Oh, yeah, oh my god. No.
No.
Everyone was
No.
flying.
Is the
No HR.
the salt one?
Baja. Yeah, Baja Gold. Yeah, right in Amazon.
I wish more. It feels expensive and.
Yeah.
But you. So much more productive. Feel better.
It's
It's like,
totally.
Yeah.
It's so true.
it's a direct correlation.
There is, and even to your earnings.
Yes.
Like when I started getting really good on this and I had energy, I could make clearer decisions. I didn't have brain fog. I could execute at a much higher level. Like my earnings doubled. You know, because I could be in things and be confident about investing decisions and not like, oh, I don't know, should I do this? Oh, what happens? I'm like, yeah, okay, if I lose it, I'll make it back. Like next decision. Okay, next thing, I gotta make like 10 critical decisions a day. And that's the thing, the multiplier on your health and spending money on that is like through the roof. It's the best thing ever. Plus, it's longevity. They talked about it in like, you know, look, Warren Buffett didn't become like a billionaire until like he was 60 years old. He's like 97 now. He's another 37 years in the market. You know, that's why he's worth 100 and something billion. Like you gotta stay around. You know, part of it is longevity. There's a book called Founders, and it just talks about that. Like a lot of companies fail because the founder gets burnt out or sick or dies. Like, so if you can stay through and battle and be persistent and, you know, get through all the things and the issues, usually you're successful, yeah. So
What about caffeine? What do you think about caffeine?
I do zero caffeine.
Zero
I don't
caffeine?
drink coffee.
Okay.
I know a lot of people do. My wife drinks coffee, but like, yeah, I never drank coffee in my life. When
Okay.
I started working with my dad, they would like, the old school guys, they would have like a pot, you know, and they'd like fill it up in the morning, and then like, I felt like they were drinking it all day, and then at 2 o'clock, they would need it again. And so I just saw that, and I'm like, that's just another thing now that I'll be addicted to.
We gotta get us morning supplements. This is how much energy he has. with that
No
caffeine.
coffee.
I've never had caffeine in my life. Yeah,
Oh, my word.
Insurance.
oh, yeah, now more of them are, yeah, for sure,
Oh,
yep.
I haven't found one here that.
Yeah. Yeah, some do, and then if you guys know, like, you have HSAs or like,
That's what I.
yeah.
Like,
So I had my best friend on the ride out here was telling me about his SJ, because I'm like, I had an HSA and it was a pain in the ass to like do the whole thing. So this year I didn't do it, but he's like, no, you don't use it on your health. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, it's tax-free growth. So he goes, I just use it as another investment. So I go, wait, you max out your HSA at $8,000 a year. He's like, yeah, then I put it in an investment. I never touch it. I still pay out of pocket for everything because the growth on the HSA over the next 40 years will amount to a lot of money, more than me just paying out of pocket. So I never thought of that. Literally on the way out here, told me that. Right? I was like, wait, that's genius. That's like yeah, 529 for your kids' college. So I'm like, wow, okay, so now I gotta do that. Another thing. And I think right around now is when you have to redo your, insurance for the next year. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many things, and that's why like the business stuff is great, but there's so many stuff outside of it, like that is just, like you said, not resenting the business and wanting to do things and feel good and. Our top agent, it does like 110 million. He's just his individual boutique, but he's like the most unhealthiest guy. He's just gonna die one day. He's like 74, he's miserable. He's been up there for 50 years, so he's a great reputation and has sold a lot. But like his health is so every time he comes in, I'm like, Jay, you're gray, dude. You're gray. Like that's not a good look. He's like, I'm busy, I feel, blah, blah. He's got 85 listings over $1 million at all times. But like, that's no way to live and operate in the business. And then one day you're just gonna hear it stroked out or something happened because it's just not taking care of itself. Last quote, I promise. If you don't take care of if you don't spend time on your wellness, you'll be forced to spend time on your illness. That's what God's honest truth, right?
KC and Cal Beans.
What was it?
KC and Cal Beans, man.
Yeah, what's that? Never heard of it.
All right, Justin,
Yes.
thank you,
Yeah, I don't know if it's-
thank you, yep, I got it.
All right,
Amazing,
yeah, good stuff, guys.
I feel like I could go run a marathon.
Well, maybe we can do a walk. Just do